celebrate, but we saw these mass, all these people putting out fireworks from their homes, hundreds and hundreds of people. It was pretty astounding to see it happen. It actually looked like the end of a movie. When there's this one clip where you see all these fireworks going off, and then you hear in the background the reporter basically going, but, we told you you're not allowed. You're not allowed. You can get fined for doing this. And it really looks like the end of a movie where everybody is defying, the evil, tyrannical power, something like that. So it was fun. But so Kanye announced that he was going to run, and there was quite an amount of frenetic energy. At least in my mind, I became very excited just because last year I put out several videos about Kanye West. One of them, which was actually covered by Newsweek, looking at this notion of the fool and how in the time of chaos we need to watch the fools and we need to look at their pronouncements, because when the world is upside down, the fool continues to turn and will bring things right side up. And so this is what we're seeing right now. And so Kanye West, a few years ago had been, had some mental issues. He actually was put into a hospital because of his problems. He has said that he's bipolar, that he has these extremes, and you can see it in his pronouncements. When you listen to interviews with him, he goes on these kind of stream of consciousness rants, and he can talk and talk for hours about all these different ideas. He cuts from one subject to the other. But in what he's saying, this is when the fascinating thing, you can see how he's slowly pointing towards things which are actually the foundation of civilization, the foundation of order. And we see the same with his album, the last album he put out, Jesus is King. If you're interested in that, go see the video that I put out about him. There's two videos that I will put links for in the description. So let's look at his bid for presidency. He started with a tweet in which he said, "We must now realize the promise of America by trusting God, unifying our vision, and building our future. I'm running for president of the United States." And so the interesting thing to notice in his tweet is just how concise the tweet is and how powerful the tweet is. You can imagine him, I don't know that he put that out, really very intuitively, but in the tweet you can see exactly the things that people need to understand, the very deep wisdom that I'm talking about, that no one dares to say anymore. He's saying things that no one has the guts to talk. Unifying our vision and building the future. Now, this is really the structure of reality. That is, that in order to build something, you need to have a unifying vision. And the difficulty is, where do you put the unifying vision? Now, those who are wise have understood that the higher you put this unifying vision, the better chance you have of actually being able to build something that's going to hold. And of course, the highest thing that you can look to unify your vision is God. And that is why you have in the United States the last, let's say, desire to hold unity within the United States was done under the guise of God. We see it in the Pledge of Allegiance. One nation under God. We see it also on the currency. In God we trust. That is, that we need to submit to the highest principle in order for us to be able to cohere together. And so one God, one nation, we acknowledge the very, very highest, and then we acknowledge the thing which binds us together in terms of the nation. But the nations are arbitrary unless they are prone to conflict. They are prone to inner turmoil, to civil war, unless they are submitted to something which is above them. And that is why all civilizations have always had a religious ideal to which they hold. And of course, the transcendent God of Christianity, transcendent God of the West, is, the highest possible thing that you can unify under. And so he in his tweet, he is actually pointing to the structure of reality. He's showing us how reality works and how, if we want for things to hold together, how the order of the way things have to be. So you have God above, you have a unifying vision, and then you can build the future. Then you can acquire the potentiality of the future, and you can unite it into your one vision. Okay, it's the same for any project. Will have to have a unifying vision so that you can build the future, take the potentiality that comes to you and unite it to that, the unknown that comes to you, and unite it into the one vision. And so what's interesting, again, when I talk about Clown World, when I talk about the problem of the upside down world, is that in this case, him saying that, tweeting this out publicly, looks like the craziest thing anybody can say right now. And you can see the media class and the elite class just laughing at someone who dares to say something as insane as, oh, we need to unify our vision by trusting God. My goodness, this is crazy. But it is actually, he's actually pointing to the very structure of reality. What he's saying is the wisest thing anybody can say, but he's saying it in a way that looks crazy. And this is where the end becomes the beginning. This is where the entertainer, clown, kind of frantic character ends up actually showing us the highest ideal, brings us back into order. This is something I've been talking about forever, the notion of this double inversion, of how the fool will bring back order. And here is a clear example of this happening. And Kanye West put out an interview on Forbes magazine, and we're going to go through some of the elements of the interview, because in the interview he does this over and over. So in the interview with Forbes magazine, first of all, the interviewer gives you a sense of this frantic interview that he's had with Kanye. He says the interview lasted for 3 hours, and if you've ever watched Kanye speak for a long time, you can imagine what it was like. You can imagine him kind of talking and going off and bringing in ideas, and there's a kind of electric energy in the way that Kanye talks about things. And there's something which at first view looks like a kind of convoluted or discontinuous way of speaking, but if you take a little bit of time to see what he's saying, he's actually saying things which are very coherent. Another person I've mentioned who talks in similar manners is someone like Alex Jones. When you see Alex Jones speak, he uses very hyperbolic language, talks about psychic vampires, and he talks about aliens and demons, and he uses all of this kind of language. But when you actually look at what he's saying, you can see that behind it there's a inner coherence, and he's actually pointing to things which make sense. Not always, but often you can see that he's actually pointing to something which makes sense once you analyze what he's actually saying, and you kind of look through the bluster and the hyperbolic language. And it's just the same thing with Kanye here in this interview. And so when you look at what in the Forbes interview, what he says, the author gives us a kind of summary at the beginning. So we're going to read the summary, and we're going to see what this is pointing to, and how things which look very, very crazy, not crazy, but look very hyperbolic in the way that they're presented, are actually pointing to something very high, and are actually pointing to a deep pattern. And so he starts and he says that Kanye West is running for president in 2020 under a new banner, the birthday party, with guidance from Elon Musk and an obscure vice presidential candidate he's already chosen. The obscure vice presidential candidate is like some pastor in the U.S. And he said that it's like anything I've ever done in my life, says West, I'm doing it to win. And the first thing you notice is the birthday party. Now, when you hear that, can you imagine a political party called the birthday party? And it looks like someone who's making fun of politics. And in a way, I think that there's an aspect of it which is true, but there's also an aspect which is pointing to something more, which is that the notion of a birthday party is the idea of celebrating your origin, the idea of celebrating the thing that makes you you. And I think that that's what he's intuitively pointing to. He's pointing to the notion of his unified vision, but he's also bringing the notion of a kind of celebratory carnival aesthetic with the notion of the origin. He is closing the gap. He's ending the carnival. He's bringing the carnival into celebrating something which is actually the origin of our existence. He wants to bring everything under God. And so he has birthday party. And those two things are the end of clown world, right? The place where the celebration, where the party, where the carnival turns to now re-celebrate the origin. So he says that he's never voted in his life, which is hilarious to think that someone who's never voted is running for president. He then says that he's suspicious of the coronavirus vaccine and says that it's the mark of the beast. Now, this is something of, again, which hopefully I'll probably make a video about this, which when people start to talk about the coronavirus vaccine, this notion of the mark of the beast and being chipped and everything, it sounds like extremely hyperbolic language and kind of crazy talk. But when you actually look at it and you look at what it's referencing and what are the fears behind it, you'll see that the fears are extremely reasonable. And also the system that people are using by saying mark of the beast or the chip or whatever, that the system of control is nonetheless there in our society and is nonetheless always looming on our periphery, something which is always in danger of encroaching onto our lives. The idea of being fully identified by the state and fully followed by the state is something which is not at all conspiracy. It's right there. Now the manner in which this is going to happen is up for debate. But the idea that this is coming to us on the horizon, anybody who doubts that is the one who's actually naive. So he says that Planned Parenthood has been placed inside cities by white supremacists to do the devil's work. This, of course, is phrased in a way which also sounds quite wild, but is also not completely false. You know, we know that there, in the origins of Planned Parenthood, there are some very shady things about eugenics that are there. And so he says it in a very hyperbolic way about the devil's work and all of this, but nonetheless, he's saying things which nobody is allowed to say publicly, but which are also pointing to some underlying truths. And then he says that he envisions a White House based on the secret country of Wakanda and Black Panther. And that the reporter is putting these things next to each other in order to make all of this sound wild and crazy. But in the movie Black Panther, you really do have a interesting culture, a culture which is very cohesive, a culture which is very aristocratic, a culture in which the king is able to unite different tribes together by respecting their different identities as tribes and bring them together into one nation. And so there's something about that which is not completely, which is not at all crazy. And so he says a lot of things, which I won't go into everything he says, but I want to point out to a few of the things that are mentioned in this article. I will, of course, put the link to the article in the description so that you can find it yourselves. On the coronavirus cure, he says, we pray for the freedom. It's all about God. We need to stop doing things that make God mad. Now, once again, this is something which, in a secular society, in a world that has, in the world of Enlightenment values, if someone says this publicly, says that the reason why we are struggling with this problem is because we made God mad, and that it's all about God, that people will say, oh, bogus superstition, oh, silly thinking, magical thinking, all of this. But once again, look at the way that everybody is fighting about how to deal with this disease. And the reason why people are fighting about how to deal with this disease has nothing to do with science. It is an image of the fractured society we have, of our incapacity to have unity, our incapacity to have a coherent discussion and a transcendent value. And that is the reason for the conflict. It is actually not about medical. It's a political conflict. And so when we say that it's all about God, and that it is by not doing things that make God mad that we could come out of this problem. What he's saying is absolutely true. That if we were able to have something which unites us, which you have something, and of course God is the ultimate thing which unites us, then we would be able to find a way to deal with this which would be coherent. And also we would also be able to find the balance between the extremes, which is we can see that people are giving in to these extremes of protection, or now extremes of denying the very existence of the virus. And so, and also people are suspicious. A lot of people say things like the virus doesn't exist. This is all a conspiracy. Why are they saying that? Why are people saying that? They're saying that because we have lost the coherence of our society. And people are doubting their authorities. People are doubting those who are responsible for telling us what is going on. They think that they're being lied to. And the reason why they think they're being lied to is because we are living through a breakdown, a social breakdown. We're living through at the end of a civilization's end. And so when he says that it's all about praying and it's all about God and it's all about not doing the things that make God mad, he is absolutely right. He's absolutely right in a technical sense, not in a superstitious, just religious sense. He's right. That is because we do not have this, that all the rest is going on and everything else is breaking down. If we could unify and be humble under the divine guidance, then we would be able to avoid, we would trust our leaders if we knew that they were submitted to God, and we would not be doubting, we would not be even arguing over whether or not this is real, whether or not whether or not the instructions that are being given to us by our authorities are for our betterment. All of this would be avoided. And so another statement which is amazing that he makes, they ask him about his foreign policy, and the quote is, "I haven't developed it yet." But then he says, and which sounds like, of course, the unplanned fool who's there saying he's going to run for president but doesn't have a platform. There's, of course, an extreme honesty about it. He's not pretending. But he also says, "I'm focused on protecting America first with our great military. Let's focus on ourselves first." Of course, this links to his notion of Wakanda and the idea of the Wakandan state, which was protectionist and which was mostly based on preserving the coherence of its inner elements, the tribes, rather than trying to take over or to siphon and get their interest from the outside. And so, I mean, can you imagine if someone did this? Like, it would be, it means America would maybe stop fighting war after war after war. I mean, wouldn't that be nice if that would happen? If the imperial tendrils of the United States were less spread all over the world to their own detriment ultimately. And then, of course, he says, "I'm pro-life because I'm following the word of the Bible." Once again, it is very difficult in the world right now in terms of media, let's say the consensus, the kind of social consensus, to say that you're pro-life and to say it as explicitly as that, not argue about science this and that and ethics and this, and just say I'm following the word of the Bible, and he's right. So the last thing I want to point to in this article, which is there are several things. Read the article. It's definitely worth it because you can see him go and use extremely hyperbolic language and kind of wild speech. But then he talks about prayer in schools. And he says, we need to reinstate in God's state, in God's country, the fear and love of God in all schools and organizations. And you chill the fear and love of everything else. And so that's it. He's right. First of all, he says it in a kind of freestyle rapping, which is amazing, with some rhyme in there. But he's right in the sense that it's not just about the idea of prayer in schools or whatever, but he understands how reality works. He understands that if you do not have a transcendent unity if you don't have unity in the transcendent, then you will have a problem with the unity, and you'll have a problem with the fear of people fearing each other, and you'll have less love between other things. So he says, so that was a plan by the devil to have our kids committing suicide at an all-time high by removing God, to have murders in Chicago at an all-time high because the human beings working for the devil remove God and prayer from the schools. That means more drugs, more murder, more suicide. And so, of course, this is unacceptable. You can't say this. No one is allowed to say this in public discourse. But here he is saying it straight out. And he's right. What he's saying is absolutely true. He is saying what I've been telling you guys about just the way reality works. You know, that why do people commit suicide? They commit suicide because they are falling apart, because they do not have meaning. They do not have something, a purpose which is uniting them. You know, why do people take drugs? Why do people commit murder? You know, all of this is happening because of the meaning crisis, but the meaning crisis is ultimately a spiritual crisis. It is a spiritual crisis of the West, which is leading to all the other problems that the West has, and all the fragmentation that is happening. And so read the article. It is definitely worth your time. And also try to understand this. Try to understand what is happening. That as you read the article, you will see some of the things he says are extremely wild and were really said in a manner that is extreme, but at the same time, he is saying very basic wisdom. He's saying things that are basically the way reality works, in a straight saying, just saying it straight out without any filter. And that is exactly the image of the end of Clown World. It is exactly the image of the end of the entertainer in an upside down world finally pointing to basic wisdom, to basic truth, in a way that looks still crazy for most people. And why does it look crazy? It looks crazy because the world is crazy. And so saying things like put prayer back in school and abortion is evil and it's the work of the devil, all of that looks crazy. It sounds crazy because the world is crazy. And so all I can say is maybe vote for Kanye. You know, I'm not American, I'm Canadian, so I don't even have to decide, but think about it. And we'll see you very soon. Hope you enjoyed this analysis of Kanye West's run for president. Always remember that everything I'm doing here is thanks to your support. So as usual, please subscribe if you're not subscribed. Share these videos because obviously YouTube is not on our side. And also check out the new merchandise that I have developed with Owen Cyclops, which is precisely on this point. It is the Watch the Fool's image where we see the fool pulling the king back up on top. And so thanks everybody for your attention.
Rebecca's raised bed. This is raised bed number 1. Look, it's different. Remember, there used to be a cucumber trellis here and lots of lettuce. Well, she cleaned it out, gave it to the chickens, and started over again. Looks like with green beans, transplants from the greenhouse, and looks like some summer hardy lettuce. As far as I know, no chick escaped yesterday. Further clipping of the wings must have really helped. They must have been jumping up and out. They jump up this high and then get out through there. Must have something against water, filling up waterers. I guess it's a pain, and I guess it takes up a lot of your day because, you know, I'm gonna fill this water up with the chips and lilies possible. But I'm thinking, let's get the Everflow water here as soon as possible. Let's put that on the list of projects. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the question of the day. Why do I keep chickens right next to the garden? Well, it all begins right here. Let's come out of our house to what you would call a kitchen garden. So close, so easy, stuff that you just kind of pick. You just kind of pick a little bit. Cucumber here, cucumber tomorrow, a zucchini the next day. But you come out and you work in your garden. And you do some weeding. Rebecca did that yesterday. What do you do with the weeds? What do you do with the weeds? That's what you do with the weeds. You turn that problem into a solution by feeding it to your chickens. They have eaten most of it from yesterday. Those guys are going at it. I like it. They're eating, they're eating some of the old stuff. And what happens to the stuff that they don't eat? Well, they shred. They stay busy, scratching, tilling, and because we have them on deep bedding, carbonaceous diaper, as Joel Salatin likes to call it, it's turning this carbon, this wood chips, as they turn it into compost. This, the don't eat, will be shredded, turned into compost. Then you rake off the deep bed, the mulch, and at the bottom is where that compost lies. You harvest it, you run it through a sifter to weed out any big chunks of wood chips, and you put it in your garden. That, my friend, is why I would always have chickens in gardens in a very close relationship. Chick, 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 chick. Chick, 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 chick. Chick, 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 chick. Hey, you want to go with?
I wanna.
Check on the boys?
Yes, but I can't, but I'm wet. I can't.
So fragile in the morning. Give him the afternoon. You can't contain this boy. You'll be in the underwear by the afternoon, won't you? How's everything out here, my man?
Good.
It looks good. Everybody's in. You got plenty of rooster teeth, plenty of feed. Good job. Got my helper here. Got about an hour to work on the pig's water line. You got it? I'm wondering if the pigs have stayed in. We'll see. Who's still in? There's our long line. It was way down through there. It worked. No snags. What also worked was our pigs that were getting out of our sheep net. I think the webbing on it was too big. We switched it out for this piglet net. So far, so good. Get in. Get in. Oh, there he is. What are you doing? I hear Teddy barking. I thought the boys had probably at the door barking. All right, let's go get Teddy. And then we'll start. Teddy! Come on, man. Come on. Going with me has got to be better than sitting at the door and barking. Come on. We got our water supplies yesterday.
Papa, Teddy wants to drive.
So, you want to drive? So I've got enough to do this water line, but we're out of gas. We got Sally filled up, but Rebecca's not one. Rebecca? Rebecca? Turns out Mom had a bunch of bug bites. Just wanted me to check them out, help her out with them a little bit. And now that she says that, that explains this crazy itch I have on my knee. I can't imagine what she's going through. One, it's driving me crazy. But anyway, we got it taken care of. We're going to the pig's water.
Oh my, what they got, Sue?
Mr. Brown, since you have no shoes on, you wait right here. I'm gonna come to right here. This is gonna be my next tee. The end of the line currently is way out there. So we're gonna come over on contour to right here. You wished you had your camera. Yeah, I wish you did too now that I think about it. So to get in, I'm gonna go get the line. The temporary line is going up through there to the pigs. I'm gonna go grab some of it and see how far I can get. Did it? Good. Really? Really? Oh, maybe we're at the end. Yeah, that's the end. With that line. Uh-oh, they let Teddy go. Good job, you caught him? All right, keep him in Sally. All right, here's our line we dragged over. All right, grab this end. The other end's up there, about where I'm gonna need to make a connection. See if we can bring this up and then over to our line. All right, I got it through the fence. Trying to go along contour as best as possible. Snagged. Hey Lily, can you unsnag me? There's probably hose clamps on that T-post. Thank you.
And Josh, you're also snagged.
Wait, is that not where I'm snagged? Okay, go down and snag me. If it's down there, go down there. You'll have to go down there, honey. Oh, you got it, thank you. All right, we made it. Let's go get us, what do we need? We need the torch, the nail, the socket. Get in, Teddy escaped again. You've got to be kidding me. I put it right here. I thought I put it right here, my kit for the water line. I have water line, but not my tools and attachments. All right, guys, let's go back. Oh, look. I was coming up here to turn around and there's all my stuff. Okay, I'm not crazy. We came here and turned around and it all fell off. I was starting to feel really down about myself. Okay, this makes me feel much better. I was about to think of something positive, trying to find positive in the situation. Thinking, well, we got hose over here. We got it lined up on contour. Something's better than nothing. But no, this excites me. I'm gonna at least make that connection. We have about 10 minutes.
Papa, this is better
And
than
technically
going
I would
home.
have, what?
This is better than going home.
Yes, it is. Because technically then, we would have put 2 lines together and gone 200 feet. All right, I think I have everything I need in this little bucket. All right, well, that only took a couple of minutes. We got a few more minutes. Let's put a T on. Let's put a T on and get a bonus in. All right, I did it. I got us a T on there. Now we'll come out later with a 90 and then start heading that way. What, 200 feet maybe? 9 o'clock, milking time. Let's go home. The boys went ahead and moved the cows this morning. We got everybody over here. This is the most convenient paddock for the stanchion. Look, it's right there. All right, let me in, I'll shoo them away so we can get Flossie in, not these guys. Come on, no, we're not going, come on. Come on, come on. No, 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 no. This is the one paddock. They have access to the creek for one day. I don't know, just let them get their feet wet in the creek a little bit. It won't hurt, pick up some minerals. You just don't want cows in the creek all the time. They erode the bank, they poop in it. It gets nasty. Lily, will you go get us some kale, honey?
Yeah.
Fill that up to the brim.
Okay.
You want something to cut it with?
No.
You sure?
I already have something to cut it with.
All right. On your hands. Okay. Good job, Lily. All right, now will you shred it and then wash it for me? In today's episode of Burn It Up Cooking Show, Pacific cod. I've been craving fish and I've been craving butter. So why not? Let's cut it up. You don't have to, but it's gonna get more butter on around it if you cut it up. Next step, copious amounts of butter. So I've got everybody separated in the pan to try to get full penetration. It's kind of soft and breaks up, so I'm trying to let one side cook before I flip it. All right, it's been a few minutes. Let's see how it's doing. I guess we'll flip one. It's firming up. I want it to brown. It's been 20 minutes total. Well, we're starting to burn it up, folks. We're starting to burn it up. I think I'm gonna call it on that one side. Oh yeah, it worked right there, guys. Look, golden brown, that's what I'm looking for. Since that turned out so nice, I'm gonna give it a little more time. I was giving up, I'm getting hungry. but it's showing that it's gonna work. I want that to happen to others. I guess just cook it until you've browned it up enough or your hunger takes over. I think that's a good mix right here. I'm so hungry. Sure, I'd like it a little browner, but I'm hungry. Let's do this. And the cod is part of your complete breakfast. Eggs, kale, beef broth, and bacon cheeseburgers. What do you think, Mr. Brown?
Good.
Good.
I'm gonna wipe off some more.
Yeah, you got mud all over you, man. Why are you getting muddy before brunch? You liked a lot of codfish? Just get in.
It's yummy. And I saw that, that is yummy.
Just wrapping up the edit. Look at there. Raindrops be falling on our dock. This is much needed. Happy about that. Little supper prep right now. These are short ribs, Rebecca. Now this is going to be the Burn It Up cooking show. Because I don't even know what it's called, but we're doing it. Nice and brown. Searing. Thank you, Beck. You are in here. You can come see if this is a good sear. Oh, she's watching the vlog, and she's got the headphones on. And she just can't stomach cooking meat right now. She can eat it, but I don't know. She's a veggie lover. I'm a meat lover. Do you see why I call it the Burn It Up cooking show? Do you see the haze in here? We burned it up. Half water, half beef broth. Halfway up in my Dutch oven. And just put it in the oven, 350 for 2 hours. Good. And just come back and when it's time to eat, and eat. Look at this guy. Jonah, I'm gonna go do the chores. Okay. He just harvested potatoes. He's cutting up fries. I said to everybody, I'll cook the meat. We already got lettuce cut up. We'll just have some meat and salad. If you want anything else, you gotta do it.
So I did it.
So you did it. You're making fries. Once you get those cut up, you'll probably need all this avocado oil. Put about that much in a pan. Look.
Okay.
And put it on medium heat and just put them in and then just fry. You might have to get Mom to help you figure out when it's done.
I think I'll know when it's done. I've seen French fries done.
Well, you've
Okay.
seen them done, but sometimes the inside is maybe still hard.
I'll ask Mama then.
Yeah. And everybody is staying in. I think we've conquered it. Just let's do the afternoon chores real quick. Thanks to you and Jonah for moving the animals this morning. We don't have to move them tonight. I mean, this afternoon. They're already out of their grip. The luchadors, more than just one move over. We're at the dead end here. To keep going, we got to pull them right there, and it's just so much easier with Sally. Just parked the mower and look at this, Josiah. Serious?
Yeah.
Look how big.
I know.
Here, take a bite. Have you been over here munching already?
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to be on no fruit right now. Got mucho.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, I'm home. Oh my, he did good with those French fries. All right, I just pulled this out of the oven. Let's look at it together. Oh, it turned out beautiful. Hey Mom, did you see Jonah's fries?
I did.
Do they pass the beautiful one standard?
They did.
They do?
They do.
You gonna have some?
Uh-huh.
You think you would have been gone for days?
I know. I was gone for like 20 minutes.
Here we go. Hey, you helped out make the meal, man.
Yeah.
Good job. Let's see that. Whoa, 100% from the land.
Alright.
Save the salt.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna get that technical, are we? This is 100% from the land.
You told me to get the milk and you got it.
So they got the milk later, you gotta get the cups. Will you go get the cups?
Milk. I did
We could
got
have
the milk.
cucumbers in the salad.
Look. Milk.
We could have pulled some
Milk.
carrots, put onions in it.
Yeah.
We could add more.
It's been kind of nice eating here lately. Look at that view. Weather in the evening.
Here. Today we're going to be taking gallium metal and putting it in this motorcycle's engine. We're going to drive around and see how long the engine lasts before it just totally tears itself apart.
Spend most my days to understand you, why you would make me use my tears and then you kneel right by my side. In my pain and wondering why you rarely give me a straight answer. Instead you sit right next to me, and somehow that is just enough. I'm at peace within your love. Maybe the reason why I am down here is to know partly who I will have there, and give my life to someone I cannot see, who's never left and never will leave me. Is this the price of following you? Is this the cost? All of my life it seemed like a good deal at first. Oh, but this deal does include some hurt. Take away this, take away that. It's how it feels some days. It's like my wants are attacked, but that's what you have to do to show that all I ever really had was you. Maybe the reason why I am down here is to know partly who I will have there, and give my life to someone I cannot see, who's never left and never will leave me. Oh, my soul, quiet yourself, you need to know. He takes so you can see him clear. The pain is deep, but he is near. He is here. So now hope you can't demand what's his to know. Trust he is good. Look at the cross. He is my gain if all is lost. You're worth the cost.
Hey guys, it's Genevieve here, and I hope you all enjoyed my new single called Maybe. It was written by Zach Gear, who actually produces my music now, and he was also my sister's boyfriend for about a month before she passed away. And he kind of just wrote this song in light of that experience of losing her. As you just heard, the song kind of explains why God allows trials to come into our lives, and that Christianity does have a huge cost, but that cost is so worth it because you gain Jesus, and that's all we need. So I hope you guys are blessed by this song and encouraged, and I will just encourage you guys to go right now, buy it, stream it, it's available everywhere, and also don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Keep going forwards, keep going forwards.
Right, I picked the spot back there. If we let out too much, we're gonna hit the bottom.
If you drop it here, we'll end